That's not the problem. I'll explain later. Go ahead, do what you need. You said bring your toys, so I brought a toy.
Okay.
2 minutes.
Where's that?
Oh, it's my pixie camper.
Okay.
I was letting him play with it, but he didn't play with it, so I'm going to play with it.
Here's the meeting announcements. Can you do away with the stuff on the left?
I don't know, can
That X on the outline.
There you go. The things with the asterisk to the left near the blinking cursor, cursing blinker or whatever it is. The Wi-Fi electrical socket, that's the Occupy software. And Kenny just put Google onto his Tuya using the Tuya app. He couldn't read his instructions. I said, just download it and you'll be fine.
Because mine says smart home, but it uses Tuya. And has parentheses Tuya.
So they're all kinds of stuff. And the Sonoff, which somebody will be talking about today, there's a $5 link. Somebody probably, if I said they could probably find them cheaper.
Yeah, I bought one Sonoff. This is the price.
Yeah, but that you've got to put 2 wires on either end.
It has
of that.
four screws in a box.
Yeah, right. So it's not as neat as the little hockey puck, which you just plug in.
It's good to put inside lamps, you know.
Oh yeah, I know the advantages of it. It's just
the
Sonoff
convenience.
The Sonoff has been cracked, and you can get into the program. Is what we were saying, weren't we?
Oh yeah.
You can get into it.
You probably could reprogram that thing.
The puck, I don't know if you can get into it yet.
You probably can.
Yeah, I think it's a dare or challenge.
Let me have it. I'll do it. I'll make it work.
Roll it up here.
I'll make it work, or I'll smash it with a hammer.
Yeah. Okay. This week they had quite a flurry of activity around go back up toward the top. The first one, actually.
Oh, you're talking about the graphene?
Graphene. They've been taking. We talked about graphene off and on. Yep. What they're doing now is they're doing 2 layers and putting them together, and they're getting superconductivity characteristics at a particular angle, 1.5 degrees or something like that.
1.1 degrees.
1.1 degree. And so they're interested. It's still at very low temperatures, but they're looking for the key to how to do that at higher temps. So they're all excited about that. What else we got? Anything? All the electric trucks in there, electric truck SUV thing, and that's about it. Oh, we got a couple of items to talk about. Windows is coming for your Chromebook, and free Office online apps. Somebody's going to talk about that today, and Marcus is probably going to talk about that today, and whatever, if he gets a chance. Other than that, I'm Jim. Next. Art, you got anything to talk about?
Well, I brought in my Yasu handheld 2-band hand loom, 2 meter and 70 centimeter, and I was picking
Ham radio.
Oh, sorry. I assumed everybody was hams.
No, I didn't know.
I was picking Leroy's brain as to how to make it work, and he tells me basically it's so obsolete it will never work.
Oh, I didn't say all that word.
He wasn't that abusive. He was abusive, but I don't know.
Basically, it's an FM, and everything's gone digital now. So, yeah, I bought it in 2011. So I figure, well, that's about the rate at which things go obsolete.
Yes, I'm Leroy still.
Vice President Leroy, okay.
This week I've put together 2 Raspberry Pi robots, messed around with a 3rd Raspberry Pi robot, found a project to do with the Pixie cam, so I'm going to do that hopefully for next week. So I've been sort of busy. I 3D printed more stuth.
Pixie Cam 2 bag?
This is the PixieCam 2, the updated version of
This again.
Is that 2 meg?
PixieCam. Do what?
Is that 2 meg?
Megabits.
Is it 1080 or don't know?
Not
Don't know is an acceptable answer, by the way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
camera.
So where are the Raspberry Pi robots?
Well, so one of them was that from that WaveShare thing. It's actually working sort of as expected, but the instructions were hokey, and the pan and tilt kind of busticated because it was not a great set of instructions. So I've reordered a couple more servos to fix that problem. And
So these are not just busticated, these are dead.
They sent the cheapest 9G servos that they could get their hands on, and of course they stripped the gears, but they were not clear in the first place onto how to actually mount it. I've mounted them before, so I thought, well, it's not that hard. So I mounted it, and of course,
What could possibly go wrong?
of course, it binded up, and as soon as I tried to turn it, it just went, psst, and I went, I am sad.
Took all the teeth off?
It stripped out a good number of them. So the other one had the exact same problem. The first one, only they were a little bit more clear on how to actually mount it. It just stupid cheap servos that if you look at them wrong, they decide they ain't going to do what they're supposed to do. And so I've reordered some parts from China because the Metal Gear ones I actually found for $2.98. So I bought a bunch of those, but I'm got to wait a month for them to get here. When that happens, I'll probably bring them in because they're kind of interesting robots. The third one was the a motor driver board that we had found on eBay for like $17 or something like that, and I had it working just fine. I decided to go ahead and move it from the robot chassis that I had and move it to a different chassis, and I haven't finished completely moving it. The WaveShare documentation has a really neat way to control these things over the internet, over a network, and so I changed that code a little bit for this other one. Now I could control it over the internet, and that was actually working really well, but I decided I didn't like it on the chassis, so that's why it's not here, because I decide things like that. I saw a project on, was it Hackster? I don't know. I saw a project somewhere where a guy was taking the PixieCam 2, which is the updated model of the original PixieCam, which does a whole lot of new things, like a whole lot of better tracking. But he had programmed it to go and pick an object up, move the object, and drop the object off.
Identifying the color of the object.
Yeah, he's using it by color. So I thought I would try to duplicate that while I'm waiting for other things to happen.
8 megapixel,
Is it an 8?
1080p.
It's a good camera.
Well, they don't use this resolution.
Yeah,
I
it
don't
can't use that.
Maybe a quarter BGA or something
Yeah, but
to process all the pixels.
but that's the project that I'm planning on duplicating. There's another project that I saw where it is following a line, and it's got little barcodes across the line that tell it to turn left or to turn right, and you can swap the barcodes out. and it will do different things based on the barcodes. And that, I really want to try that one. That one looks.
Instructions in the way.
Yeah.
What to do now?
Yeah, turn. That one looked really good without an ultrasonic or anything. So one of those two projects is probably going to happen this week while I'm waiting for other stuff to happen. So that's it. That's what I got. It's your turn. Talk.
You take all the time for. Vicente, I lately was working in a computer vision project and almost finishing it. It's about following the Aruco marks, the square designs, with the camera.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting everything in a box for Mark that he's planning to do a robot, and almost done. The problem was to convert all the values of distances and to voltages for the PLC that he's planning to use, but everything's working now. I'm putting everything together in a very, very narrow space, and I have a lot of problems wiring, but it's okay. It's almost finished.
Cool. I'm Steve. I didn't bring toys. So I've been working on print servers.
Hey,
We didn't want to know about that.
Well, Windows 10.
I'm Mike, and I've been waiting for the James Webb Telescope, and they bumped it out to March 2021 again.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a year delay.
Yeah.
And before Mike starts, the other Mike 2, I gotta get this up because he's got a box there. As we noted in the meeting announcements, we have a much wanted floppy drive, a 1.4 meg floppy drive.
Looks brand spanking new.
Brand spanking new in the box with the DVD. USB connector. I'm telling you,
Wow.
Is this Vanamike here?
Yeah.
So
Let's make a deal. Carol Merrill, what's behind that?
show them what's on. It comes with a carrying case. Somebody think of the carrying case, probably the best bet.
Something.
There it is.
1.44 meg.
Yeah.
parts.
Oh, it's
Do you have to have a
two and
special
half
driver
inch?
for this?
Lenovo, it's gotta be
Yeah, the
good.
last floppy.
Yeah.
Do you have to have a special driver for this, or will it just plug and play?
It
Depends
probably,
on your OS.
Here. Let's see if it'll just plug and play. That's easy.
You got a
It's got-
3.5
it's
inch
got
floppy
drivers.
to try it out?
I bought one.
No,
to
but it'll
cover
show up
my
as a drive.
Microsoft.
Yeah, these days, just about
Everything.
everything has got a USB on it.
When
We'll do it.
I
Got
had
your
the
carrying
Microsoft
case?
console to
Mhm.
single
Some
place.
hardware.
That's a
ThinkPad.
Lenovo too. That's an expensive.
It's got to be relatively new because they hadn't been around
Well,
5-6 years.
Lenovo?
10
Oh,
years.
yeah.
Really? They took over IBM
Yeah, they basically
Yeah.
bought out IBM.
maybe
so
10 years ago now.
I think it's about 10.
That's new for me. That's a new PC.
Look, it showed
Well,
up
the
as a
disc
floppy drive.
says-
That's right.
The disc
There
here
it is.
says
You don't need anything.
2005.
It just showed up as a
Okay,
floppy
There you
drive.
go.
2005.
I bring good stuff.
It's
It's not,
vintage.
it's not World War II stuff. Like Mike brings us some World War II stuff.
If I had
Piece of
floppy
hardware.
disks, that would be something to
Who
be
wants it?
excited about.
Okay.
If you want the case, you gotta take
I
it.
have none of these.
You could stick all your top secret documents on floppy.
Floppies? Yeah.
Nobody would ever be able to read it.
Okay, Mike.
Barn collection on floppies.
So I'm
if you
working
got
on, I got
1,000
hamsters
of
in
them.
here, it's working on color sensing and electrical shock to try to train them and condition them
Hamsters.
We might need some of those for our cats.
They're nice and quiet.
to. Yeah. No, I had a fireplace that doesn't have a vent in it. So I got a hot spot in the room and then you have cold spots. So the missus gave me permission to put a fan as long as it didn't look ugly. So that's the basket. So
what happened to the hamsters?
They're more interested in the hammers.
Once
That's
Yeah.
they get caught in the fan.
There might have sparked interest there. So, got an extension cord. I just plug it in. Temperature sensor. And I just park the fan on top of the box, run the cord over to it, and run this up along the fireplace, use a magnet, stick it on the metal face of it, and used a Arduino Mini, or Nano, and a relay. So I just programmed it using a USB. So I just
Is that like a 12-volt fan, or?
Yes.
Okay.
So I'm just using a iPhone charger to power the board,
Yeah.
12-volt power supply to power the
Okay.
fan.
And the relay is 5 volts.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when I have the board set to when it hits like 90 degrees, turn the fan on. So when the fireplace is running, gets up to temp, it just kicks out just enough breeze to cool things down. And when it goes down to 75, it turns off.
Wow.
Cool.
Warm.
And she didn't like how it looked without the basket, right?
Well, then it was a little
First time someone
design
made a
process.
useful
It's
thing.
like, I can just set it there and say, I don't want anything on the mantle. I don't want to see any electronics.
The aesthetic.
So I got the clear fan.
No electronics and no cables. That's the rule in my house.
Yeah.
Should have got the one with the
House.
lights in the fan that, you know, travel around. Oh, yeah.
I had a blue cable hooked up, and then Mike had that long 8-foot cable that had 4 connectors in it. That
So
was
is that a USB line that goes there? What is this sensor? What is the sensor delivering to the Arduino?
That's looks like a little transistor.
So it's a
just
little
an analog.
thermal transistor,
Yeah.
basically.
Yeah. So just do a
Beep.
little conversion in there to get the.
What is that?
So analog
BM80
value.
something?
You are using an
One
analog
wire
input.
interface.
Pardon?
Analog input of the
Yeah.
Arduino.
Yeah.
No, probably not. If it's the little 3-pin, it's a one-wire interface. It's I2C.
But you need a software for that. What is LM?
I don't know, I got it all shrink
35.
wrapped. I knew somebody would ask me what is in there.
Okay.
It's like, oh shit, I didn't.
I have in my mind all the numbers of the
Yeah.
sensors.
I just
Isn't
looked
there
down in the
one that's
basement
like a
and I started looking
BM80
up,
or a BCM80 or?
Oh, you know, it's a temperature sensor. So I just wired it in there. And
Okay.
Yeah, there is an LM something that's.
29 something.
Mm-hmm.
29.
that's a problem. I'm sure Leroy has that same problem. You start collecting stuff and you go, what is
maybe.
this?
Oh, I have a few of those.
Sometimes
that-
it's cheaper to throw it out.
My problem isn't what is this. My problem is I have a bunch of stuff in storage, so I order the same stuff, and now I have a bunch of the stuff and a bunch of the stuff.
Sometimes I think of that when I'm looking on Amazon. I ought to just shoot Leroy and go,
No.
this is the price.
Yeah. It goes to Leroy first, then Amazon. It's like,
Actually, it probably should go to him first because he can find better prices sometimes.
well, I'm saying if you have it in storage somewhere, it goes to you first.
Oh yeah,
then-
I might have it somewhere.
That's right.
I always am buying stuff, but there is a delay between the buying moment
Oh.
and the delivery. And every day I open the mailbox and see, what is this?
Yeah,
again?
no.
And I know what for.
I started
Okay,
doing.
in the drawer with antennas.
Yeah.
Another one.
You can't ask your wife, did she order this? Did you order this?
But sometimes it's cents, 50 cents.
I know,
or
you just
something.
like, yeah, you see it.
Today I was looking for a connector for the LiPo batteries. You know, they come with a couple of wires,
Right.
red and blue
Right.
and black. But the boards used to have a GT connector or something, a very tiny connector.
Right. Oh,
And
you
I
want
found five connectors with wire, 50 cents.
Yeah,
AliExpress, you know.
that's right.
Maybe I have it
Yeah.
in 4 weeks, and I won't remember.
Yeah, you want to
what
know,
I
like,
needed.
what did I
This is what's for.
Look here. I started making a list. This is all the stuff I'm expecting in the next
Wow,
couple.
See,
you
I-
are organized.
I actually do that too now. You have to, I mean, it's like, I do that now. It's like,
And you put why you buy that?
Yeah, and where it came
Like
from.
Christmas every day.
No,
yeah,
but what
because
you
the
will
problem
use
is
it
that
for?
when you start searching
Yeah,
for stuff, you
some-
find all the
sometimes
good
I
stuff.
No, you have
Yeah.
no,
And then
no
when it's
idea.
it's like Vicente said, if it's 50 cents, like, well, what the heck? Why not?
Why not?
Yeah.
Oh, look at what happens when you sit up at 3 o'clock in the morning, you end up with a whole bunch of stuff that you don't necessarily need because it looked like it was a good deal.
We're shocked, Leroy. We're shocked.
I put a little shelf next to the door every time I
But the
buy
thing is,
something and print it.
I almost
put it up
always
later.
find
Oh, that's a
something.
good idea.
When I need something, I have drawers with everything, almost
Yeah.
everything. I always find DC converters, all of them, stick up, stick down, whatever. And there is a place where
Yep.
it used to be then.
Another thing I started doing is I got a box that says new components. So when it comes in, I put it in there. Okay,
Yeah.
because that's like, yeah, it's like, okay, this is don't keep it in there because one day you'll remember why you bought it. It's like, but yeah, it's just so
Well,
cheap
every
nowadays.
time I open
Have you guys seen
an
this?
envelope or something, I
This
I
white
throw
thing?
everything in it, before, because everything
Oh,
goes to
yeah.
a box.
Oh, he's got an inventory sheet.
This is all. It's still loading. It's not done. This is
Yes.
all my microcontrollers that I've got.
The Buono is very good. It
Yeah, well,
has a,
that's the one that I actually fried. So.
it's a very
Fried it.
big
These
power
are
supply.
all the microcontrollers. We're not done. We're not done. Look, I have 13 of those.
Hello, Micro U Hoarder Hoarder Society. Yes, you can come in now.
I have. Look, I am up to 56 of just the ones that are put together.
Okay, we need a minute of silence here.
Romy chassis. 6. This is when
I found a guy on eBay selling them for $12.50 a piece. And they came with the motor drivers.
Okay.
Wow.
I'll email you the link because I know you want some. He's got
I have
more.
3 of those, but without the drivers.
he's got more.
Getting excited.
But they're red.
Yeah.
Wow.
Send me the link.
I'll send you a link. He actually made me a deal. He had them for
We're gonna break these two
$12.50.
guys up.
I know, yeah, that's right.
And I
Send them on opposite sides.
That's right. Assigned seats now.
It's getting emotional.
I offered him $10 for all
That's
5
right.
of them, and he sold them to me. And I'm like, cool. So I got them for.
Save Leroy's
Yeah.
marriage.
Eyes are
chassis.
getting all wide-eyed.
It's a nice chassis to
It
run.
is. It's a nice chassis.
Like a puppy
and
dog,
with the
waiting for
motor
that bone.
board.
It's a little fragile, I broke one just moving around.
The
Missing
worst
boxes.
thing that I've had a problem with is putting the rubber around the wheels. I mean, that takes forever.
That one tab in the middle, stuff I would like.
Stuff I would like.
Stuff I would like.
Everything.
Yeah.
Everything.
Stuff I would
No,
like.
Oh, yeah.
I got it all.
Got
I got it
everything.
all.
They can't put anything in there. It overwhelms him every time he thinks about it.
His wife
His wife has the delete button for that line.
in the old meeting notes, though, if you go back to the old meeting notes where it had our corners and everything, there was actually a link to this document. So my thought on the whole thing was, if I share this document with everybody, and if somebody actually needs something, they could get a hold of me a week or two before the meeting, and I could actually find it and bring it to them.
No, cannot find it.
So, not every, I've got all of the stuff that's listed, or I've got most of the stuff that's listed, but some of it's in storage.
Hell, Leroy, you got more stuff than Mendelssohn's does.
I doubt that very seriously.
Definitely not the oldest home.
But that, my thought was, is if you've got access to this, you can at least see, and if you need a microcontroller or something, I
check there first. Check Leroy code.
If
Instead of Deb code.
if I've got it, you know, I'll loan it to you, and we'll just replace it when you get yours or whatever.
Yeah.
I just drove.
Yeah, you don't want to get rid of anything, do you?
I really don't. My wife wants me to get rid of stuff, but I can't seem to part.
I just drove past Devco about 2 weeks ago.
Oh man, I can't believe it's
that
still
place
there.
has been there forever.
You see the counts on the side though?
Take a selfie.
He lives right near there.
They've been there 30 years.
Yeah,
See, it might
remember
say
going
that
there
there's
with my dad.
199, but look, there's
That's 40
two of
years.
these, and there's two of these,
That's incredible. It's always amazing that they're still there.
Yeah.
I mean, you can imagine how much
and there's
the rents
4 of
went up in that
these,
district,
and
but
there's
they own
3
it
of
somewhere.
those. There's
we
way
better
more than
start
200
markers.
microcontrollers.
Oh, they,
Yeah, we
or-
better
yeah.
We're
finish,
having
at
a
least finish the introduction.
Okay, I'm Marcus Davis. I've been working on this little thing right here, and what it is actually where it's going to go. It's actually going to go in the garage. And as you guys remember,
Hey, Jim, move your box so we can see what he's doing.
So, as you guys recall, these are Sonos switches, and they're 8266. 8266.
Yeah.
Somehow.
Yeah.
Man, it's like that. And what I had to modify, number one, you see the switches are not centered. I did really, really, truly want to center them, but they would not center based on that little open space right there where the switch will actually sit. So I had to I had to measure out that. And what I'm going to do, they come with this little switch here that you can program. And so I'm actually going to break that switch off like that. And then, that's right, no! Break that switch off right and solder to that switch there. So therefore you can stick this in, this will actually go into the wall. So you just got to grab those, as you guys were talking earlier. You got the 2 lugs here. So I'll just wire it in. And so when I'm not programmatically controlling it, I can go up here, hit the button here, turn lights on, turn lights off. One of the things you hear a lot of times with people that buy these things off the shelf is that they'll have all their light switches always turned on.
Yeah.
So they can control it, because once you turn the switch off, you're done. You're done. So this eliminates that. So you can control it from the switch. So that's pretty. Had to do a little modification. The Sonos is about the same length as this panel, just about. But as you guys know, anybody who's played with the electrical boxes, those little screw holes right there, after that is the open space is about the size of those area right here. So that's again that's the one reason why I couldn't just punch that over just a little bit more, because as soon as I start punching that over, it's going to start running into the side of that box. So, but I haven't tested. Well, yeah, and I have tested it in a way. I've tested it with like extension cord, sort of splicing the extension cord and going input output to the extension cord. But I haven't put this in yet. I actually just did this week. So you have that.
So these are on the meeting announcements. The Sonos modules are there. They're about $5 a piece.
Yeah, and I ordered 6 of them from China, of course. They sent me the old version. I opened them up, and what? See these tracks right here? They actually had wires going. They had wires going, and I was like, "What the heck's going on? Did they change the?" And so I started looking hard at the version. This is version 1.1. Those are 1.0. So I just I actually sent them, believe it or not, I'm working on sending them back. So
Is it worth sending them back?
that's a good point because I got to pay postage.
Yes.
So I'll find out the next few days. Is it actually worth? They were 6 of them were 39. They were 36 bucks.
Yeah.
They were $36.
A lot of times you can talk them into giving you like a significant discount and keeping them.
And actually, and I actually already sent for the, and I think it came back today, and I think it was actually, I'm sending it actually local, I mean, to an in-state address. So that's good. So it should be, the cost shouldn't be something crazy. So, but you can program these things. That's the point here. These are programmable, so you can go in and program them and basically hack them and
Where
what
the
you want.
hockey folks,
You
we
need
don't know
a
if they're
serial
programmable.
USB serial adapter.
Right, just the FTD.
Yeah.
Yeah, the FTD. You have to basically hold that thing I just broke. You hold that button down while you power it up, and it puts it in program mode. So I really like them. So.
Or those
Same
hockey
that
pucks,
thing.
you don't know if you can crack those.
Well, here, Leroy, crack it.
Leroy's going to crack it. There you go, Leroy. Crack it. That'll be your next demo.
I thought my next
Couple
demo
of weeks. Okay, a couple of weeks now.
Yep, so
Well,
that's all I got.
You take a soldering iron and melt the plastic, and you should be able to open it right up.
Open. Oh, you talking about that?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. But can you get it back together?
Yeah, that
Use a
one.
soldering iron and go the other way.
Yeah, maybe some rough surface, but
That one, he may not be able to recover that one.
Yeah.
Because you're going to have to crack. It's a puck.
It is. It's solid.
And you don't see
Yeah,
the screws.
don't
in
see
it.
Does anybody
Screws
care
or
if I actually
seams or
destroy this
anything
to
like
open
that.
it?
Let me see.
I don't know whose it is.
Let me
You
That's
can
yours,
destroy
right?
it. It's mine.
It
You can
is.
destroy it.
This.
As long as you're entertained.
Mine looks identical.
I'll take a hacksaw to it.
It's
okay.
Well,
GOSUND.
there's simpler ways than that, I think.
It looks the same.
They
as
can
this
check it
one
and
right
lathe
there.
it, do a facing cut on it if you want.
If you check it in the
Sonoff
lathe and
makes
just
sense.
do a
S
surface
on.
cut around
Yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm
Switch
sure
on,
that'll
switch
pop
off.
apart.
Sonoff, I can understand that.
It
Yeah,
looks
Tom,
like
I
it's
love these things.
ultrasonically
Yeah.
welded together.
Yeah.
But that's
Yeah.
I was just going to cut
another-
across the two
Right
welds.
here,
Yeah.
here's the seam right here.
Same
Yeah.
company, Sonoff makes.
I just-
So if you
Sonoff.
chuck
Okay,
it in,
Sonoff is
you
that does
just
the audio
cut back
stuff.
here a
Okay.
little
I was
They
just
do
going
the
to take a
audio
little
stuff
hacksaw
and
and cut it
how
into
you get these into
You see the
That's
same
like-
kind of
yeah,
seam
it's
right
close,
here.
but yeah.
It looks
Well, I can
like
see S.
the whole thing was put together
O-N-N-O-F-F,
without the
some-
side on
Right,
it.
right. On
And
and
then
off.
they
with
slip
an S
this
in there,
on.
with a switch.
Look here.
That's how I remember it.
Been a little lightning because I've never thought about that.
There's a line right here,
That's how they came
and there's a
up with
line
the
right
name.
You're
here.
probably right.
So
Switch
put on
S.
as a C's.
These I believe are ultrasonically welded, and if you cut that right there, and you cut that right there, it should just fall open.
You learned a new paradigm.
That's right, exactly.
That's the
I
first thing
think
that came to
you
mind
need a
for
little
me.
hacksaw. Just cut it. I got a little tiny hacksaw.
I
So
got a
that,
text from
so
one of my
there is a way to
nephews that says,
easily put a switch on
if it ain't
those.
broke,
And that's
fix
cool.
it until it is.
Yeah, I won't say it's easy. It is easy now. I mean, it's easy for if you know how to do it. But
Yeah.
for a person that like it's easy to just go get hockey puck and switch the lights on. But
So we're gonna have a button offset issue if we mount it, both the modules in the center.
well, yeah, it won't go in. Basically, when anytime I put something on the house, I want to make sure that if everything goes to heck in a handbasket, that I can go in and grab switches, or if someone says, okay, if my wife said we're moving, she's the one that determines that stuff. If she says we're moving, and I have to go in and say, and I can't convince the people coming in that okay, this stuff is good stuff, and, here's how you replace it, or I'll replace it and put back the old stuff. But that's going to go in the garage, so I can. So number one, so I can. So my goal is to
So
be
it
able
doesn't
to.
have to be centered, really.
No, it really doesn't have to be centered, but it's aesthetically it looks better.
Yeah.
And I really, I mean, I'm sure I could come up with a crazy way to do it, but again, I could mount the board inside the thing and put it. But to make this so you can pop it in and pop it out and just unscrew the wires, it's worth the. I can cover those up and it won't look as bad as But the goal is to be able to pop it in, pop it out, and my goal is to ultimately when I went over my design is when when cars are coming up, when my wife's coming home and the sensor says it's dark outside, it turns on the lights on the in the garage and also in the driveway. So that's really where this is all going. So once I get all of that going,
okay, then you'll be able to talk to these guys and turn on and off remotely.
yeah. And I can actually do it anytime. I mean, it's all MQTT. So at any time, and they have this nice little app, and actually have one you can get it for the phone or you can get it for a laptop, and that's how I do all my testing. So I can publish. It's called subscribe and publish. So this thing is subscribing to this almost link, looks like a link. And then so I can publish to that link to turn this on and off. So I can do it from my computer, I can do it from a touch panel or whatever, but my goal it'll be all automatic. So it'll be constantly sensing if it, and then the car is going to be these little beacons, and we talked about those. They're the LoRa. So they have long distance, so it's LoRa. So it sees that the car is coming, so it senses that. It says, oh, okay, is it my wife's car? Okay. And then it looks at another sensor and says, okay, is it dark outside? Yes. And then it says, okay, turn the lights on. Sounds crazy, but it's coming together.
The Tuya software I mentioned earlier for those type things also includes the MQTT option on it and has Google.
Oh,
and
okay.
MQTT.
Well, that's good.
Did you consider the ESP now? Did you talk about that?
Good question. Actually, the reason why it's a good question is because originally I was going to use the ESP now for a lot of different areas, but it turns out that once you put, and basically how the ESP now works, you have to put the ESP now communicating with another ESP, right? Mm-hmm. So every time I add something over here, I have to actually go into the program of the ESP now to modify that. So what I decided to do is the ESP now only works for anything that has to be batteries. Mm-hmm. Because if you recall, ESP now doesn't require the Wi-Fi. It doesn't require the Wi-Fi connection. So my mailbox, and then I'm experimenting around trying to do a motion sensor, a battery operated motion sensor, and so that'll be an ESP now. But the good thing about the ESP now, it doesn't suck all the battery power that if you're just communicating directly with wireless, it's killing you. I mean, every time it runs up the radio, it's just like sucking down the power. So that's a good point. But so my ESP now stuff I haven't went away from, but it's like almost a one-to-one communication. So the mailbox, ESP now, I'll have the ESP now sitting in the garage somewhere, so it'll easily communicate with the mailbox. And then I'm doing one for my wife was, I like to leave the shades up on our deck in the back.
ESP now aside another ESP connecting HTTP?
Yeah, well, what I actually do is, and know it's maybe a better way because we talked about this, is that what I do is I have ESP now, and I know Steve will remember this because I brought it up about using serial connection. So what I do is that so you have the sensor over here, you have ESP now, which is 8266. You have another 8266, but they're communicating via serial. And so this one is actually the one that's doing the Wi-Fi stuff, right? So that.
Have you looked at the particle mesh stuff now?
I've read. I haven't bought anything new.
It's more expensive, but they solve everything.
And actually, particle was actually the one that got me first involved in this. I have some particle processors, but it's just once the ESP started, it's like, wow, this makes it so much easier and it's just cheaper.
We bought some particle mesh.
Oh,
stuff.
You've been playing with them?
Not yet.
No, I can't figure out what to do with it. I've got 2 nodes and 1 Wi-Fi thing, and I'm going, okay, I can make a light blink. But I really don't have a clue what to do with them.
And I guess the best thing when you go with mesh, I guess you almost need 3 or 4, at least 3, because that's the beauty of the mesh is supposedly is that it's sort of it's going to determine what route to use
Yeah, yeah.
to get the
The
information
relaying
back.
of the
So
signal.
yeah, so
Yeah.
it's, so I mean, so that I don't. Yes, I have to look into that. If I start finding a use for it, maybe I'll say, hey, Leroy, can I have those? Can I borrow those?
The mesh seems to solve the problem of the ESP now, because
Yeah, that would be true.
and well, you can run a mesh on the ESP,
Right.
but I think you're back to using too much power for the radio
Right.
again. The mesh seems to solve that problem with the radio deal, but you just bring another device up, you merge it with your mesh, and your mesh just kind of goes, oh hey, look, there's something else
That's
here.
right, yeah.
So it sort of solves that whole. Now I've got to reprogram and put the MAC address in for ESP now and all that.
That's in that lies the problem. I'm saying every time you start putting something else on that network,
Yeah.
you got to go in and you have that MAC address.
It's a neat idea, and it's neat, but it's kind of impractical for anything beyond a couple of.
Yeah, and that's why I say that if it's a battery, if I need a battery, that's sort of where I've sort of looked at trying to use it.
Yeah.
Got a sign-off question. Somebody was asking me if he's got a pole barn that's out beyond his Wi-Fi range, and he was wondering if you get the T series, the one that has temperature sensors in them.
Oh yeah.
If he gets it programmed and moves it out of range of his Wi-Fi, will it still
Still what?
still turn on and turn off?
It's going to be on, but it's sending. I mean, it's going to be on. It's not going to send any. The data's not going to be.
But he's not caring about the data.
So what is he? What's he
Just
want?
He wants to
timer.
put one of these little blast type heaters.
Oh, if he's doing local, if he's doing everything's local, yeah, it'll still turn on. Yeah,
And he wants
it doesn't need
he wants to
Wi-Fi.
do different times,
Yeah.
and different temperatures,
Yeah.
different times.
Right.
And it's like, well, one of those, you should be able to set up for that.
Yeah.
But okay.
Yeah,
Just,
it work. Yeah, it'll work perfect. Yeah, you don't have to have. You don't. Yeah, you can have this totally standalone. I mean, matter of fact, I mean, the good point about that is that the little switch I broke off. So when you push this button, when this button is pushed, it's not communicating Wi-Fi. It's all self-contained. So it's worked perfect.
so what would you use to set your temperature ranges and your timing?
You can. I mean, you can down. I mean, you can. It has to be programmed in there anyway, right? I mean, it's going to have to. You have to have a threshold.
Mhm.
You know, here's the temperature I wanted to turn on. Here's the temperature I wanted to turn off. So when you're communicating at Wi-Fi, unless you're actually picking up additional information from somewhere else, I mean,
Program it in the house.
So
and
you
get
can
it
do an
out.
EV link in your network,
yeah.
set it up, and then remove it
Yeah.
out of range, and it'll still function?
Yes.
Cool. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. You program it, and everything's happening here inside there, and you just
You just won't
Okay.
get feedback.
Yeah, exactly.
Or that's-
And yeah, that's, I
you'll
mean,
be able to turn it
yeah, I
on.
mean, the thing about these things is that you're trying to, you're basically collecting data. In my case, I'm communicating with other devices or a
Yeah.
main system. Yeah, that's perfect for that.
Okay.
Perfect, yeah. Gail?
I'm not really working on anything, but I'd like to get about 20 of those baskets.
Yes, yes.
A whole set of those, on my entertainment
That's
system.
Yeah, I got some places I can use it.
Yeah, I got a issue I ran into my HP, one of them that I got like that one, except it's i7, and it's 2 processors. The BIOS says all processors released in service, and I go to Windows and I try to change Windows to 2 processors and get to it. No. And I go to in Control Alt Delete to the monitor
Windows.
they have.
Boot off of a Linux CD and run
Cat.
proc CPU info and see what it says. If it says 2, then the problem's Windows.
Actually, Windows says there are 2.
Sure, blame it on Windows.
Yeah.
It just won't use them.
It just when I switch it to 2
Yeah.
to use the monitor utilities and all that, it Now, what I did see is that you can only use two. They require the NVIDIA video, and I have NVIDIA video, but if you're using the Intel video, you can't use the dual processor thing. So.
Yeah, that makes sense.
It does. Okay. Good. So.
As a matter of fact, we said
It could be something like
true.
that, because it's a refurb.
Yeah.
They switched out the video board and they used the NVIDIA that wasn't compatible or something like that. You ever heard anything like
Use
that?
a laptop?
Yeah, just like that one.
Oh.
It's a 8440p. We got a family of those. That's an i7 2 processor. They haven't heard of that? Okay.
I've not seen that. But.
We, in the meeting notes we saw, meeting announcements, we also saw that they're talking about Windows for the Chromebook. Y'all been hearing about that? They're talking about
Is
being
this
able to.
a light version or?
I don't know. It's just they were talking about it.
It's a Windows machine with Chrome.
No, it's a Chromebook machine that runs Windows, that you can boot Windows.
Steve said why?
Yeah, I'm doing the same thing. Why?
Yes. Both of them are.
Well, they can get some of the
Just run
Windows
CMD.
customers over then, because one of the things I got is some of the apps don't, like my iSpy software. It doesn't run on Chromebook. It doesn't run on Linux. It runs on Windows. And if I could run that would be a gross imagination. To run iSpy on a Chromebook running Windows that would be crazy.
I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure why we need the Linux subsystem inside of Windows, other than the fact that I like it being there. I just, this whole weird, we're in this weird conglomeration of all the OSs have to run on everything.
There's
Yeah.
also Chromebooks running Android
Yeah. My new Chromebook runs Android.
for operating.
The only reason I run Windows at work is because they won't let me not.
Yeah, well,
So I installed Cygwin, so I have Bash, and now I'm okay.
Yeah.
So I run Windows technically, and Outlook is in Windows somewhere, but I spend all day long at a Bash prompt. Of course, that's in a VM running on top of a Mint box.
they've got. I think I've got the Linux subsystem running on this,
Mhm.
and I've used it a few times just to make me happy because I'm running Windows.
What
But-
about the speed?
Hmm?
Using
Just
the
as
connection,
therapy,
the
so to
speed,
speak.
is acceptable?
I really don't understand why we need this convergence of everything.
It's good.
And the speed is good?
Yeah. So, not on a Chromebook.
Yeah.
This is on a desktop.
You know,
It's a.
Chrome, the Chromebooks,
It's
the newer
like a
Chromebooks can run
Chrome
Linux
Wars.
now,
Yeah.
and
Yeah, it's
I mean, it was
pretty
always running like a Linux kernel, but it never really was Linux. And I don't really get that. I mean,
Yeah.
it's a specific OS for a specific task. Why do we want to go and do all this other stuff with it? Now all you're doing is making the hardware expensive again.
Mhm. Yeah.
Another topic we saw was that it looked like you could run Microsoft Office products for free, and that was the impression I got when I read the title.
Nah.
And not so much.
No, Windows is not free never.
Now,
Okay.
is that my cue?
That's your cue.
That's my cue, so I'm going to need. What? I got this crazy email about 2 weeks ago.
From some crazy guy?
Very crazy guy. Yeah. And it turns out is that because what you actually saw is Windows, something called Microsoft Teams, and it's actually a collaboration software, which actually turned out to be pretty darn good. So I mean, it'll be something to take a look at, and it is free. I'm going.
Well, that's gonna hurt.
Teams was free.
Teams is actually free, believe it or not.
Huh. Because when I tried to sign up for Teams,
Are you
I
gonna
am
jump on
It's
the
not advertising.
It's
there
Microsoft.
for-
It's
It
free.
wasn't
but
free.
that's not a-
365.
Well, that's everything, and then everybody has the upgrade or the. Let's see, where
When I tried to sign up for Teams, it was not free though.
Looks like the free samples of food in Costco.
No.
Looks like you have
What's your
to taste
Wi-Fi
the
connection
Friday.
with that guy?
Use something.
HB_B630B0.
Got it.
I need to change that to something a little bit more rememberable.
Friendly.
Oh, quick aside, I just realized I did get a new toy. A Rigel 50 megahertz scope, which has already been turned into a 100 megahertz scope.
Does this not work, or is this you personally?
Me personally.
Right.
Mhm. It's all digital,
Okay,
pretty impressive.
right.
I mean, you put a probe on a serial port.
Do you see
and
it?
it tells you what
I
the
got
data
like
is going across.
desktop
And
cast.
it's
Oh,
neat.
really?
I'm actually
Yeah.
on the network.
That's a
Do
Rigel
you see
one?
meeting TV? Because I don't see
Technically,
you.
it's a 1054,
No, let me start over.
but there's software upgradable to from 50 megahertz to 100 megahertz and more features. And the root password is root.
Oh, that's
no
secure.
cast destination found.
And you can SSH into it and trigger it.
On the network.
It has some really neat features. I will bring it in.
That's a neat thing.
I got it almost a week ago, and I haven't had a chance to really play with it.
Well, why don't we do? You want to do that one next week if we don't have time to do?
Okay.
The bad thing.
Parker one got checked for
Parker
some
one.
reason.
That's that guy
Those
was
guys
parked
are
in
out
your
in the driveway.
driveway.
Stealing your chainsaw.
Those ears are not sensitive.
He figured out that every Thursday evening you're in a meeting.
I've got a new burglar alarm actually ordered with SMS.
Waka, waka, waka,
The cats will be after him if they didn't watch out.
The cats, the attack
Take him
cats.
down, yeah. Take him down.
bought this December.
Yeah, that's almost.
4 channels. It has a protocol and license for
Yeah.
I2C and
Mm-hmm.
serial and everything.
Yeah.
You still trying to cast?
Wait.
I just restarted the cast software, so
How much?
and it showed up on my phone.
Yep, there we go.
Okay.
But I love it.
It's
I
getting
have
ready.
many
Getting ready to
scopes, but
see it.
this one I bought 2 months ago. I love it.
There he is.
Nice, crispy, works
Mm-hmm.
great. 100 megahertz for channels.
Okay, where
Yeah.
am I?
Mine was 50.
Am I controlling that
Yeah.
half screen thing?
Yeah, I think
Yeah, I'm
it's
trying to make it
equivalent
bigger.
to that.
Oh, okay.
You probably know more about it than I do. I'm
But
coming
you're
up.
controlling
No,
you're
I
controlling
use
what's
a
in
lot
that
of
box.
Right.
The Rivals and but I decided this one.
Can I close this thing?
Review and review.
Oh, okay, good.
Rival has a very good.
Let me see. Like, is this gonna go away? Let's see. Nope. Good. Okay.
My last, I got 2 other scopes, the Tektronix and the
Yeah,
10,
me too.
and they're like 20 megahertz analog. They're each they've worked fine for 30 years.
There it is. All right.
All right, great. Yeah, a little, maybe a little.
No memory and
Yeah.
I might be able to make that a little bit
Oh,
bigger.
yeah.
Or not.
Hmm.
I think that's
That's the best we're gonna do. All right, we'll go with it. All right, so I don't know a lot about this. I will admit. I will say, this product actually has been around for a good while, and I actually set it up a long time ago, and that's why it says Hypertext System. That's why it says Hypertext Systems LLC at the top of there. And it turned out is that I was trying to go set one up just generically, but apparently Microsoft has all my email addresses all connected together. So basically, what I'm going to start off with is just basically show you a little around the application itself. So the application is based on teams, and a team is based around these individuals. Like let me see if I can do this. You can okay, good. You can add members, and the good thing about this, you can add members, and you don't necessarily have to have an account within Teams. So I could add Leroy in here and just put his email address in here, and he can actually share the application. So that's one, I think, one nice thing about it. It also has, so this development team would be sort of the high level, and then you have these different, what they call channels. So you have a general channel, and the thing that's cool about that is that you have all these areas here. For example, a conversation. You can start a conversation down here and say, home. So start a conversation, apply to conversation. So you can have those conversations within each, in those different, what they call channels. So you can create as many channels as you want. You can also create as many teams as you want. The thing that I really like about it, you can also add, like this one has, let me see where I put it. You get like, yeah, that's right. You can make your own, let me see, I put one, I actually started one, a Wikipedia. So, wiki. I just got to figure out where I put it. Where's wiki? Maybe it's here, because. So there's wiki. So you can create. It has all these apps that you can add into it. You can add files. You can have your meeting notes. The conversations, of course, are just the normal stuff that we usually are used to seeing in these collaboration tools. But if you hit the plus sign here, it'll bring up all these different tools. So if you wanted to store live Excel files, you can put those in their Word documents and all this other stuff. A lot of stuff I've never even heard of. So, but it allows the product to be extended, which again is pretty neat, So let me see. I added a bunch of stuff somewhere here. Let's see.
Is the wiki searchable outside of the group?
I don't think still in the application, but
if I'm just on the website searching.
Oh, okay. Let me see.
So I would have to be a member of this team to see the wiki.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's still something that.
Right. See it. Right. I just did a search within a different team, and it's not searching within that team, which is actually, I think that's actually a good thing.
Well, but like you said before, how you found out a little bit more about us was you searched on Google Plus.
I know, right, exactly. Right.
If we had a wiki and we were building a wiki and it was searchable beyond the team,
right? Yeah,
even if it wasn't editable beyond the team, if it was just searchable beyond the team,
and it still does. Yeah, it still doesn't satisfy those two modes that we need, right? It still doesn't satisfy the collaboration.
But it's close.
Yeah.
I'll agree, because a wiki is actually kind of cool.
Yeah.
And having the team chat is kind of cool, but you need that public face.
Right.
So if the wiki was public and everything else was private, I could.
Right. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure it's not outside of that, because again, I can't even search across different teams within here, so it's not going to be external to this.
I wonder if there's like a setting where you could set the wiki
to allow
public
Yeah, like part of
viewing.
it be public, yeah.
Yeah.
Like maybe if you clicked on that right there.
Yeah. The ellipsis.
Well, it seems like more just a conversation within the weekend.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't know.
Or maybe
Maybe this one here.
Let me enter that and see where that goes. Oh wow, you got a conversation within the wiki. So, well, what'd you say? I'm sorry, I didn't. Oh, up here.
There's one that
One
The
at the
blue
top,
star.
and there's one all the way at the bottom.
All over the place. Let's see.
There is a menu
Connectors.
there also, right?
Edit links. Get links.
maybe edit this channel.
Here.
Maybe that.
Right here.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's just the like the sort of titles, so you can jump around different sections. Those are the sections.
See
I
it.
think they're called.
See what confuses. It says public right here. So
Well,
how the heck would you search for that?
and I think I read something and I thought public means that
It's public inside the
inside
the group.
Yeah, you don't have to actually be. You don't actually have to be a member of that particular team to access it, but I don't know how you access it. There is a way to set up a link to.
What about down in the reply section in the lower part?
Well, that's just for this box right here. So once I close the conversation, so you can have a conversation. Apparently, you can have a conversation. Say, for example, something in the wiki's not right, and you want to have someone modify it. You can put up a sort of conversation here.
Hey, Marcus.
Maybe it's only searchable in Bing.
Yeah, that would make sense. Why don't you invite me or invite a couple of us to join this, and we'll just play around.
Why don't you start it, because I can't start a new one outside of this. That's why it's stuck, because I was trying to start just the general one and just make.
Okay.
So if you and I'll remind you to and where to go and send you the link to that.
Okay.
But so we just need to. It has, like I said, it has some pretty nice bells and whistles. The format, it's real easy to use. I do like the file storage. You can right now I put this. This was that text to speech. This is that PDF. Why isn't it open? Oh, we probably because we got a slow connection. I'm sure. Yeah. So, but gee, I mean, it has a lot of capability to be. If you want to put a Word document, if you want to put any PDF in it, if you want to put any type document in, so you can usually find the reader for it and it makes it easy.
Does that take your 5 gigs of free storage?
I don't. Pretty sure no.
Okay.
No, yeah. I didn't see any the limitations from the free system to, because they have the enterprise system,
right,
and then they have, I think, like making phone calls. The enterprise system allows you to actually make phone calls within this, and so it has some features that didn't sound attractive to us anyway. So it didn't seem like it would be something limiting.
I've noticed recently. Jeremy might have noticed even more, but I've noticed recently GitHub, they're starting to make it a whole lot more social. They're adding some social features into it.
They are adding stuff.
Yeah, and I think, and again, you would expect, and I was sort of surprised that again, being Microsoft and being sort of, how much focus are they going to put on a product like this? And I was kind of shocked that it was so nice, truthfully, compared to some of the the free versions, or the what do you call it, the GitHub type. What do you call that community? It's like when you're doing free software basically, and it's advancing at a rapid pace. So I mean, it's a pretty good product, I thought.
Yeah.
So, but that's all, So I'll get Leroy set up, and we'll play with it and see if it. But thanks, Jim. Even though you thought it was a full-blown office.
Yeah. The way they put it was the team was not in quotes or whatever the name of it was.
Right.
It wasn't in quotes, as if it were, just a subject.
Right.
Instead of a package.
Yeah. And when I first looked at it, I forgot. I didn't even realize I had been in it before, because I apparently opened it up before and registered. Because when I went into it, it said, okay, you already have an account. I said, huh? Okay. It's one of those things like ordering those products over the line.
Cool. Thanks. A good job.
All right.
This, do we still have time?
Oh, yeah. 20 minutes.
Um,
Well, 15, I guess.
The free
Before the
version
alarm
is
goes
2
off.
gigs per user
2
plus
gig.
10.
Okay, that's not horrible. That's not hateful. I think I've showed. I don't, Jim. You had a problem with this? Something about what it was asking on the app or something?
It wanted access to my phone list, and it wanted to be able to access my phone list. And I said, no, no thanks.
This really does seem like a pretty direct replacement of G+, except you have to actually join the groups. And I read on their blog somewhere, or one of their posts somewhere, why they did that, and I forget the exact reasoning, but when I read it, I said, okay, that sort of makes sense if you think about it like that. It was to kind of help control the spam, and I mean, if you join a group, you're probably already know something, you're already interested. They said that they have some public pages where you don't have to join, but then it costs $2 a month to maintain those pages. So that's how they're going to make money off of it, is making the public pages pay for the public pages.
By the way, Google Plus got hacked. National news.
Really?
I mean,
Yeah, everybody gets hacked. I know. You don't
Well,
mean to.
You know, one of the things I was thinking when I was thinking about this public face thing, and I'm just throwing it out there, the possibility of maybe publishing too. So, for example, if we're in one of these collaboration software, we can somehow set it up so it actually publishes out. It's almost like a blog, a blog post, and then that blog post becomes the sort of the face of, so something like that.
I was looking at like Blogspot, which is another Google product. Excuse me.
Okay, so apparently they found a vulnerability, but decided not to fix it because they're just going to kill it anyway.
Yeah, G+. Yeah, I don't think they care anymore about G+.
Yeah.
But I was looking at Blogspot. I can set up as many blogs as I want, and set up what do they call them? Collaborators, where other people can come along and publish into that blog with their thing. But the thing is if you're going to contribute, I would have to add you to the email. You can't just come along and join.
Yeah, and that's what I'm thinking more of, just the standpoint of being able to just somehow automatically publish stuff from the collaborative. Like for Vicente put something out there, it automatically publishes to the blog, and it becomes a read-only space.
Yeah.
But you can still go through and sort of scroll through it and say, okay, here's what's going on at the automation club.
We might be able to do something like that. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I've heard of it. I actually haven't done it, but I've seen similar things done, so I would think it would make sense.
The other thing that I've said, you can actually set wikis up on GitHub. Of course, again, you're back to with our group. You've got to be added to it, but it's easy to do, and it's public. You don't need to be a member of that group to look at the stuff. You just need a member to publish to it.
Yeah, I think that the terminology feed comes to mind in a sense. It's like, you can set up a feed, and it's actually just constantly feeding to something. So I'll look into it now.
Yeah. We can play. We can play around with this Microsoft Teams and see. But did you go to Vegas? Is that where you were at?
No, I didn't go to Vegas.
Okay, because I was like, dang, you got back fast.
Oh, the
No,
computer,
no,
the electronic, what is the computer electronic show?
Some of the stuff you
Yes.
were sending looked like it might have come from Vegas.
No, no, fine.
The,
No, it's just all open. It's just all information.
So one of the things LG was talking about today on the news, they had a guy from LG. Right, they're having financial issues. They're South Korea right now. They're talking about introducing a roll-up screen this year.
Organic LED.
Yeah. This year, he didn't say when this year.
Yeah.
A roll-up screen.
So
that sounds
When
nice.
they first came out, they were $20,000. Organic LED.
So did you say LG is having financial trouble?
Yeah, there a lot of the people over there in the Middle East are having issues. They got tariff. He said the tariff issue was not a big deal with them, but they're expecting less earnings right now, and they expect to recover. Supposedly, they're going to recover. Who knows what's going on?
Okay.
Some of the Koreans are buying facilities over here and starting to produce their some of their stuff over here, like Samsung, like their washers and dryers. They're going to produce them over here, and there's some stuff going on. There's some stuff going on. China's got issues right now,
Yeah.
and in the Middle East, it looks like a lot of people are affected. Even Europe and Middle East, and there may be a recession growing over there. Other than that, everything's great. As long as they get the roll-up TV, which I'll never buy, because I might not be 15 years from now, long after I'm gone.
Oh, we never know.
But your cat will still be here.
Yeah, the cats will love it.
The roll-up TV.
Roll-up TV, yeah.
Why would you want one?
And so you can put it like in one of those compartments. They actually show this,
Yeah.
like in one of, like if you had like a room where you had a cabinet and you just roll the TV up.
In New York
Just
City.
it rolls up like a screen, just like a
Yeah.
screen. So like one of those little screens you pull
So
out.
this is like a
get it out of the
Murphy
way.
bed kind of concept?
Everything old is
All
new
your
again.
speakers would be your sound bar.
Office, an office situation.
Like you could,
TV
like the
blankets
old
would be
film
nice.
projector screens. You
Yeah.
just
It's like
Yeah.
you have a nice clean wall there.
Yeah,
you just
carry
pop
with
it
you.
You pull it down and then it goes zip.
Yeah.
Yeah. Whack, 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 whack.
Right in the middle of
Chips
the
start
big
falling
plane.
off.
Yeah, I know.
I lost a few pixels there.
There was also a new phone that is bendable.
Yeah.
Phone,
Yeah.
So
You know, I don't think the curve monitors in the TVs caught on very much. Do you guys? The curve TV. You know,
Well, if you go to Best Buy, they sell a lot of them.
Are they really? Do they really?
Are they
Well-
selling them?
I
Yeah,
just-
okay.
They have a lot of
Let me
them.
refresh-
One.
I've
They are
never seen
presenting a
I've
lot of
never
them.
seen anybody that owns one.
That-
Just like the
but-
3D TVs,
But my
they don't
test
go
is, anything that's Best Buy.
Hey, I own a
it's
3D TV.
occupied,
Thank you very much.
You're the only
floor
one that I
space,
know.
You think
They
that's
gotta be
selling?
moving
Yeah,
some
they
of
gotta
them,
be moving.
okay?
Is that right? You on a 3D-er?
Yeah, I own a 3D TV.
I didn't mean to hurt your feelings.
How often do
Thank you
switch
very
it-
much.
How often do you switch it to 3D?
I've watched it in 3D twice.
Oh,
yeah.
so you.
That's
You,
pretty
you
expensive
actually
3D
need
for-
you actually
for
need the
times.
Blu-ray player the 3D Blu-ray player, and I've only got a couple of movies that
Yeah.
were in 3D, and it was a neat novelty.
And they killed it.
How many people are using 4K TVs? They have 4K programming, significant 4K programming.
I have a
Actually,
4K.
I have a 4K monitor.
Uh-huh.
I put it at 1024 or 1080p and leave it there. I can't use it at 4K. It's
Too slow.
too tiny.
Oh, too tiny.
Yeah.
Too tiny.
And now they got 8K.
I do everything at a command prompt. When your text is this tall, it's pointless.
You gotta have
And
magnifying
if you
glass.
zoom in, then why bother?
Yeah. The good news is, you got all this stream real estate. The bad news, you can't see it.
Yeah.
I've seen a few curved computer monitors that I really like. I've actually seen people that have them, but I've never really seen anybody with a curved TV set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've
She
got
said they're
one
selling
friend with a curved monitor, and I've used it, and it's interesting, but it isn't a plus to me. I mean, my initial reaction was it made me kind of nauseous.
Ah.
But then after 10 minutes, it's okay. But then,
See, I kind of liked it the first time I used it, and then
Mhm.
the second time I used it, I kind of like, oh, okay.
my eyes don't have to focus quite as much. No.
So, if you get 4K, and now they're talking about 8K.
Yeah.
You said your
how can
brain
tell
can't
the
even
difference? I mean,
register
my
that.
God.
It's good for
Your
eyes
brain
to
can't even
focus
register
all
beyond
the
8K.
time.
Yeah.
So it
And
exercise.
the UHD is another feature.
Yeah.
The ultra high definition or whatever it is, and it gives you better color and supposedly contrast
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
From my perspective, the 19.2 by 1080 is a perfect resolution. I have bought higher, and if I buy another TV, I'll go back to 19.2. I won't get another 4K unless I can't find a
Is it
2K.
because, what about the enhanced resolution? Is it any difference to you?
No.
Is it a better picture? Can you
It's
tell the difference?
It's the same picture because you have to scale everything up.
Because you don't have any 4K signals?
Well, no, I have 4K signals. I can't use them, so I scale them. So I just told the TV to lock back to 1080p.
So you can't use them because
It's not big
of
enough.
your command language stuff?
I can use it, but if I'm using it at 4K, literally the text is a 1/16 of an inch tall.
Oh, right.
And
For your command line.
so then, well, yeah, that's what I do.
And the cursor.
I use
Oh,
a computer.
oh, okay.
And
Oh, okay.
That
if
makes
I
sense.
use the
It's a
native
computer monitor,
resolution,
not a TV.
Yeah.
it's too small to see.
What
so
about this
then
TV?
you
Anybody
scale
else
it.
So,
have
like,
them as TV?
so if you're talking about a desktop or something like that,
Yeah.
there should be an option in the OS to increase the DPI of the text, and that scales
Right,
all the text.
that scales your text. So now you're back to having it as a 1080p TV.
Well, that doesn't take it back to the 1080p TV. That makes the text bigger so that you can actually read the text.
Yeah.
The 1080p
So it
comes
looks
in when
exactly the same as if it was
the
1080p.
1080p, like,
Well, he's talking, the advantage is on graphics.
Yeah.
I
the
mean, the
4K
text is-
comes in when you have something that's not text.
Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
anybody
it'll
have,
be-
what's a result of people that have 4K TVs and video and nature pictures?
If I was doing Photoshop work, it would make sense to me to have
Okay,
a
yeah,
4K
makes sense.
TV.
Okay.
But for what I do,
Yeah. Anybody using one for a TV? No?
Not really.
It looks like the DirecTV people like myself, we're not gonna get many of those signals anyway. I'm not gonna
No.
get any, I don't think.
I think Netflix is 720. I'm not sure. So that doesn't much matter.
Yeah, I bought an old 720p TV that I actually use way more than I use the 1080 TV. Seems like it works perfectly fine, and I can see everything I need to see.
Yeah.
We're gonna retire our 720 plasma. I've got a 58-inch waiting. And the
You
screen,
got
I
a
don't-
58-inch LED?
Yeah. No OLED. Me and Leroy only buy OLEDs. OLEDs are still expensive, couple of grand. That's not me and Leroy. Not me anyway.
You know, I go to the garage sales and find a TV from 2005 and go, $20. It's
Okay.
flat screen. It's a 720p. Sure, why not?
Yeah, the plasma was like almost 500 watts. The newer ones are 125, 150.
Newer plasma?
No, the newer
Yeah.
LEDs.
Oh, okay.
The plasmas. Do they make plasmas anymore?
I think so.
I don't
Gotta-
know, my
gotta-
plasma keeps the family room nice and warm.
Oh, yeah.
You can put on that fireplace picture and.
Yeah, the viewing angle is wonderful. And,
Oh, yes.
and they're plenty bright.
The brightness is great.
You increase the brightness when you feel cold.
Chilly,
Yeah, just turn up a little
The
bit.
brightness of the-
Put your hands up over it. Yeah, nice and toasty.
thermostat, the TV.
May not convert over till after spring.
Yeah. when the air conditioning bill comes in.
Yeah.
It's time. It's cheaper to just get a new TV.
Better TV, you know, you can change the direction of the car.
Oh, they're ridiculously cheap now. The 58
Oh, yeah.
inch is what was it, $379?
Yeah, around that 3.
It's a
yeah.
Sharp. Sharp is being looks like they're being bought out by Hisense or something.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah.
nice.
Dropping and dropping.
I have a Spectre TV that I'm very happy with.
Yeah, I'm using one for a monitor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what mine is. It was cheap. I mean, really cheap. 42 inch and under $200.
Yeah.
It was like
The problem with the
$188.
TVs is when you see them side by side, you know.
Yeah.
Well, it's okay, but wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And it's 300, 800, 2,000, and it's,
Yeah.
it changes.
They have.
I wish I wouldn't have seen that one right there.
Yeah.
I'm totally happy with this.
They have the Spectres lined up at the door of Walmart when you're coming in. And well, were some other brands there
In
too.
Costco, it's amazing. In Costco, you see, wow, very nice, it's cheap, and you look at another. Wow.
Yeah,
I
I
think
think
Lot
they just
better.
tried to brighten this up
And
almost.
another one,
Yeah,
and another one.
exactly. Make it look better, yeah.
I think with the UHD and the 4K, I think those are in general pretty good.
Mhm.
Better pictures, better colors. I've noticed better colors on
Yeah.
some of them, more consistent colors, and better contrast, which is one of my grabs. The plasma seem to have pretty good blacks. I don't know if these would be
I'm
better.
curious what this thing is. This has an impressive picture.
Yeah, this is.
That's a Sharp, isn't it?
Yeah, that's what
Sharp is.
Kenny's the one that said that whole outfit costs $3,300.
Yeah.
This was
Really?
like a year ago, or Kenny that does the maintenance
Right,
at Butler
yeah.
County.
Hmm.
I guess he had priced them.
But when you're in colors, single monochrome colors
see
like that, it's
twice this
misleading.
resolution.
You
Yeah.
have no idea.
You can
The
have
black's
twice the
nice
resolution
and
of the
black
reality.
though.
So what you say, that's a 7?
Okay, so Leroy, you gonna do robot next week? Raspberry robot or
I'm going to try to do the Pixie Cam
Pixie Cam? Okay.
next week, and I'm going to try that. And if not, I'll do something else. I'll figure.
And
it out.
take apart the hockey puck.
Yeah,
Take
Try-
apart
I'll-
the-
I'll try to cut that
screws
out.
together. There's no
Use a
seams, no
whipper or
screws. How do you
something?
get it
Do I?
apart?
You're
There
planning
you
to use
go.
a whipper or
It's
You know you can get it apart. That's not the challenge.
Oh, I'll run it over with the car or something.
Well, we know you can do it.
Chuck it up in a
Um,
bathing.
It-
Bring the
Yeah,
scoop in.
I've got a
You
ripper.
gotta get it back together and looks like you've never been in it. That's
That's the challenge.
That's the challenge.
That's probably not going to happen. I think this thing was either melted or ultrasonically welded. There's two seams right here, and you can actually feel them.
But it's also, I think, ultrasonically welded around the circumference as well on the front and the back.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but you can feel them, and I think if I take a hacksaw, I could hopefully cut those open and maybe pry it off and go, "Yep, it's destroyed, but I know what's inside now."
What is the price on the Pixie Cam?
That was
price
was
of
that $60. I think it was $60.
what? The Pixie. 59.99.
Yeah. Yeah, because I never spend full price on anything.
You saved a penny.
I say,
So what is the resolution? What is the highest resolution?
It's 8 meg max, but it's got a processor in it. It's not just a camera, so
Right, right.
you're generally not going to see the 8 meg. when
They
you're
use
doing
less resolution to compute
yeah, it's,
colors and
I would
shapes.
say it's probably VGA resolution.
Or this
Yeah.
other-
The other one was supposed to have decent. I think the other one was 2 megs, and
Yeah.
it nowhere near was.
But
doesn't
it's
give
got a
that kind of
process. It's got a video processor in it, so it'll identify objects for you and colors and all kinds of crap. It's got a
Yeah, I've seen the video where they have the bouncing balls and it
yeah.
tracks them and so forth.
It's got to be fast, so it lowers the the thing so it can up the frame rates and keep everything fast. The one video that was impressive to me was the one where they had the track and it stuck out the barcode and it said turn left and it just turned left. That was right, but you know, our left and right are backwards. No big deal.